picture this. Whether you're, washing dishes right now, or maybe commuting, or just trying to fall asleep.
Yeah.
I want you to really put yourself in this scene.
Oh, setting the stage. I like it.
Right. So, you are sitting in a sunlit, bustling cafe in Madrid. You've been studying Spanish for months.
You've put in the work.
Exactly. You know your vocabulary. And the waiter walks up to your table, pulls out his notepad, and asks a perfectly simple question. Like, what do you want to drink?
Oh, no. I know where this is going.
Yeah, and suddenly you completely freeze. Your mind just goes completely blank. You sit there panicked, staring at him, until he finally just awkwardly walks away, leaving you thirsty and, well, incredibly frustrated.
It is a painfully universal experience. I mean, anyone who has ever tried to learn a new language knows that exact feeling of sudden, paralyzing mental block.
Exactly. And the kicker in that Madrid cafe scenario isn't that you didn't know the vocabulary.
Right, it wasn't a knowledge issue.
No. If someone had handed you a written test, you could easily translate, "I would like a coffee, please." The problem wasn't knowledge. It was a speed problem.
Processing problem, yeah.
So today's deep dive is all about the secret to true language fluency. We are going out on a mission today to figure out how to dismantle that invisible wall, stop translating in your head, and actually start thinking directly in a new language. Okay, let's unpack this.
I love this topic because to really fix this problem, we first have to look under the hood at the absolute mental gymnastics our brains are forced to perform every single time we rely on translation.
Oh, it's exhausting.
It really is. When you were standing in that cafe, your brain is engaging in a highly inefficient cognitive overload. It's not just a little detour.
Let's break down that overload, because when you actually map out the 5-step process most of us suffer through, it's honestly a miracle we managed to speak at all.
Yeah, walk us through it.
Okay, so step 1, you hear the sentence in the new language.
Right.
Step 2, your brain frantically scrambles to translate those words into your native language.
Which takes time.
A lot of time. Yeah. Then, step 3, you formulate your brilliant, witty response, but you do it entirely in your native language.
Safe and comfortable.
Yeah, but then step 4 hits. You have to translate that witty response back into the target language. And finally, step 5, you actually open your mouth and speak.
And by that time, the waiter is gone. What's fascinating here is what's happening biologically. It's a massive drain on your working memory.
How so?
Well, human working memory can only hold a few pieces of information at a time. So when you are stuck in that 5-step translation spiral, you are essentially running 2 massive, completely incompatible operating systems at the exact same time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you are maxing out your brain's RAM.
It's like having a terrible internet connection in a fast-paced video game.
That is a great way to put it.
Right. Like by the time your ping catches up and your character finally swings their sword, the game has already moved on. Your opponent is gone, and you are just swinging at empty air.
That is the perfect analogy. The ping is your translation lag. And the danger of that lag isn't just that you speak slowly. It's that the delay breeds a very specific kind of panic.
Oh, the sweat starts, the heart rate goes up.
Exactly. When your brain recognizes that the conversational window is closing, it triggers a mild stress response. Cortisol spikes.
And cortisol is not a friend to memory, right?
Not at all. When cortisol spikes, your working memory basically gets wiped. That is why you completely freeze in the cafe, you lose your train of thought, and while you're busy agonizing over translating the last sentence, you completely miss the next thing the person says.
It's a vicious cycle. So if the cognitive load is that heavy, and it actively sabotages our ability to have a simple interaction, why does the brain keep choosing the hardest possible route?
That's a big question.
Right. Why do we automatically default to this exhaustive translation spiral?
Well, it essentially comes down to early neural mapping and the stark difference between how a baby learns a language versus how we are traditionally taught in school.
Oh, the school system strikes again.
Always. Think about an infant. When they learn their very first language, they are connecting sounds directly to the physical sensory world around them.
Like pointing at things.
Yeah. A toddler sees a furry 4-legged animal, hears the sound dog, and the brain draws a direct, unbroken line between the physical creature and that sound. There is no middleman.
Right, the word is the actual object.
Exactly. But look at how we learn a second language in a traditional classroom setting. The flashcards, the vocabulary lists.
So many lists.
We are taught to map a new word not to a physical object, but to our native language's word for that object. You don't connect the new word apple to the image of a crunchy red fruit.
You connect it to your native word for apple.
Precisely. You are systematically building a detour in your brain.
I want to push back on this just a little bit, though.
Okay, go for it.
Because, yes, the flashcard method in middle school definitely lays a bad foundation. I get that. But is this really just an innocent bad habit from our school days?
You think there's more to it?
I do. It feels like there is a deeper psychological element at play here. It feels like our brain actively clings to our first language because it's a safety blanket.
Ah, the ego.
Yeah, we have these complex, intelligent adult thoughts, and stepping into a new language where we sound like toddlers is terrifying for our ego. So we hold on to the native language to feel safe.
That's a really crucial distinction, and I completely agree with you. It absolutely starts as a psychological safety blanket. When you are a beginner, your native language is the only secure footing you have.
Right. Keeps you from feeling foolish.
But the issue is what happens neurologically when you rely on that safety blanket for too long. In neuroscience, there's a principle called Hebbian learning, basically. Neurons that fire together, wire together.
Fire together, wire together, got it.
Right. So every single time you use your native language to understand a new English word, you are paving that detour. You are reinforcing the neural pathway of the middleman.
Making the habit even stronger.
Exactly. Over time, it ceases to be a conscious choice to protect your ego. It just becomes an automatic instinct. The brain takes the detour because it has literally become the path of least electrical resistance.
That makes perfect sense. The brain is lazy,
Yeah.
wants the superhighway.
It really is.
So if the goal is true fluency, you have to actively stop driving on the superhighway and start bushwhacking a completely new direct road.
Which takes effort.
It does. And there's an incredible benchmark from our sources for when that direct road finally overtakes the detour when you start dreaming in the new language.
Oh, yes. The dream test.
Yeah, there are countless stories of language learners who realize they've leveled up because they wake up from a dream that was entirely in English.
Dreaming is the ultimate litmus test for fluency. And the reason for that is tied directly to the ego and the safety blanket you just mentioned earlier.
Wait, really? How so?
Well, when you are awake, your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for complex planning, self-consciousness, and yes, protecting your ego is highly active.
It's the part that's worried about looking dumb.
Exactly. It's micromanaging your speech, terrified of making a mistake, which forces that translation detour. But when you are asleep, that executive control center just powers down.
The guard falls asleep on duty.
Pretty much. The subconscious brain is left to its own devices, and it naturally defaults to whatever pathway is most efficient to process the day's memories. So if you've built that direct road well enough, the subconscious uses it, completely bypassing the native language.
You're just existing purely in English while you sleep.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
It is.
But obviously, we can't consciously control our dreams. The real challenge for the listener right now is how do you consciously tear up that deeply ingrained detour and build the direct road while you are awake, highly self-conscious, and, fully caffeinated?
You have to start remarkably small. This is where most adult learners fail, I think.
They try to do too much.
Yes. They decide, okay, today I'm going to think in English. But what are they trying to think about? Global politics, philosophy, or some really complex work problem?
Right, stuff that's hard to think about anyway.
Exactly. Those are concepts that demand high-level cognitive processing even in your native language. When you attempt that in a new language, the brain immediately gets overwhelmed and scrambles right back to the safety blanket of the native language.
So you have to lay a very basic foundation first.
Very basic.
Give me an example of the foundation. Like, how basic are we talking?
Incredibly basic. Simple, immediate observations. That cloud looks like a dog. This coffee is too hot.
Just really immediate things.
Yes. You are training the brain to operate in an entirely different linguistic gear, and to do that successfully, you have to completely remove the pressure of complex thought.
There are a couple of remarkably simple, low-stakes strategies from the source material that you can use to start building this foundation today.
Yeah, let's hear them.
The first one is silently narrating your own life. You were just walking around your house playing the voiceover narrator of your own mundane documentary.
Like a movie in your head.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm walking into the kitchen, I am opening the fridge, we are out of milk.
It might feel a bit ridiculous at first doing that, but neurologically it is highly effective. By narrating your immediate physical reality, you are finally doing what the baby does.
No middleman.
Right. You are mapping the vocabulary directly to the physical environment, completely cutting out the native language translation.
And crucially, the stakes are zero. Your amygdala, that fear center of the brain, isn't flaring up because there is no native speaker standing there judging your grammar.
It's just you and your refrigerator.
Exactly. No judgment from the fridge. And the second strategy builds right on top of that, making your daily, mundane decisions in English.
Oh, that's a good one.
Right. Like, should I have pasta or a salad for lunch? I think I will have the pasta. You are taking that internal monologue we all have constantly running in the background, and you're just gently forcing it into the target language.
You are laying the asphalt for that new direct road. But I will say, once you are comfortable narrating and making small choices, you have to completely overhaul how you consume new information.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
If you want to stop translating, you have to stop using tools designed for translation.
Oh, you're talking about the shift to a monolingual dictionary.
Yes. For most learners, when they encounter an English word they don't recognize, let's use the word exhausted as an example, their immediate reflex is to pull up a bilingual app and find the direct translation in their mother tongue.
Which is so easy to do on our phones now.
Too easy. And every time you do that, you reinforce the detour. A monolingual dictionary breaks that cycle. You look up the English word, and the definition is provided entirely in English.
So instead of mapping exhausted to your native word, you read the definition extremely tired, having no energy left.
Exactly.
I was looking at this concept, and it really struck me that there is a massive compounding effect here. By looking up exhausted, you are simultaneously reviewing the words extremely, tired, and energy.
Yeah.
You're strengthening 4 words for the price of 1. Is that lateral connection what makes it work so well?
That's precisely it. You are forcing your English vocabulary to become its own interconnected web. In cognitive psychology, this is known as a semantic network.
Semantic network.
Yeah. When you rely on translation, your English vocabulary is just this thin, fragile shadow hanging off your native language. But when you use English to explain English, you build a robust, standalone ecosystem.
It's like trying to learn your way around a brand new city. The old translation method is like walking around confidently staring down at a tourist map printed in your native language.
You never actually look up.
Right. You never notice the architecture. You don't see how the streets connect. But using a monolingual dictionary is like putting the map away and actually walking the streets. You figure out that the bakery is next to the bank. You start navigating by local landmarks.
That's a beautiful way to think about it. And yes, putting the map away causes a lot of friction at first. I mean, you will look up a definition and realize you don't know a word inside the definition.
Which is so frustrating.
It is. But that frustration is literally the feeling of neuroplasticity. It takes actual metabolic energy to forge those new pathways.
So if you are listening right now and you want to start walking those streets today, here are some empowering strategies you can deploy immediately.
Get a pen ready, folks.
First, try narrating 5 simple actions in English today. Just 5.
Very doable.
Second, tonight, right before you close your eyes, spend 2 minutes simply replaying your day in English. I went to work, I had a sandwich, it rained. And third, when you're watching a TV show, try to let out spontaneous real-time reactions in English. Just a quick, oh no, or that's hilarious when a character does something stupid.
I love those. Those strategies are the perfect controlled environment. You are in your living room, practicing safely.
But, and here's the catch, knowing how to navigate the city when the streets are empty is one thing. What happens when you step out the front door and a local is staring right at you, waiting for an answer?
The real world.
Yeah. All that safe practice tends to just evaporate the second you face a real human being. The panic sets in, the cortisol spikes, and the mind goes blank all over again.
This is where we have to look at the underlying psychology of how we connect with language, and specifically the role of emotion.
Emotions, okay.
If you want to survive real-world conversations, you have to understand that emotion is the chemical glue that makes language permanent.
I want to dig into that glue idea. Why does emotion work better than, say, just repetition?
It's how the brain is wired for survival. If you stare at a sterile list of flashcards, your brain has no biological reason to care.
It's just abstract data.
Right. It doesn't signal importance.
Yeah.
But when you experience a genuine emotion, let's say you watch a video that makes you belly laugh, or you listen to a story that makes you feel profound empathy, your amygdala lights up.
And then what happens?
The amygdala then sends a signal straight to the hippocampus, which is the memory center, essentially saying, hey, whatever is happening right now, save it. It matters.
So if you can attach the English vocabulary to that genuine laugh or that feeling of empathy, the brain permanently anchors the words to a visceral experience.
Exactly. Emotion bypasses the translation center entirely because feelings are, well, they're universal.
But in the heat of a real conversation, standing face to face with a native speaker, I think we often abandon that emotional connection because we just get so obsessed with the mechanics.
Oh, absolutely.
We overthink the need to catch every single exact word, and by doing that, we miss the actual human being standing right in front of us.
We treat the conversation like a pop quiz rather than a connection.
Yes.
To combat this, the sources provide a very practical survival guide for real-world interactions that keeps you from slipping back into that translation spiral.
Let's lay out that survival guide, because
Yeah.
this is what saves you in that Madrid cafe.
Okay, rule number one, you have to breathe.
Sounds simple, but it's hard.
It is. When someone asks you a question, the adrenaline tricks your brain into thinking you need to respond in zero point 0.5 seconds. A 1-second pause feels like an hour to you, but to the other person, it is entirely normal.
Native speakers pause to gather their thoughts all the time.
Constantly. Taking a physical breath literally lowers your cortisol levels, keeping your working memory online.
Just take the breath. And if we go back to our city map metaphor from earlier, rule number 2 feels incredibly relevant here.
Right, rule number 2 is to respond to the overall meaning, not the exact dictionary definition of every single word.
Right. If you are walking down the street, you don't need to examine every single brick to realize you're looking at a bank.
Exactly.
If you catch, 60% of a sentence, your brain is remarkably good at filling in the blanks using tone, body language, and context. If you catch the gist, trust your instinct and just run with it. Don't freeze just because you missed one adjective.
And that leads perfectly into the final rule of the survival guide, ask for clarification.
Which feels terrifying for a lot of learners.
It really does, because we frame it as a failure. We think asking, what do you mean by that, exposes us as an imposter.
Like we've been found out.
Right, but think about it from the other person's perspective. If someone asks you to rephrase something, it shows they are actively engaged. It shows they care enough about what you were saying to want to understand it properly.
That's a huge perspective shift.
It is. Asking for clarification isn't a weakness. It is a tool of connection. People are generally incredibly kind and patient with someone who is making a genuine effort to connect with them.
So if we pull all these threads together, the path to actual fluency is really a complete mental paradigm shift. It is realizing that the translation spiral is the enemy of speed and confidence. We have to stop trying to force our native language into the middle of every thought.
The detour has to go.
Right. Instead, we lay a new foundation. We narrate our daily routines until thinking in English becomes automatic. We use monolingual dictionaries to build a self-sustaining web of vocabulary. We trust our instinct when talking to people, remembering to breathe and rely on context, and we never hesitate to ask for clarification. It's really moving from studying English as an academic subject to experiencing it as a living, breathing reality.
And for anyone listening who is in the thick of this process, it is vital to remember that rewiring your adult brain to entirely bypass your mother tongue is a staggering cognitive achievement.
It's huge.
It is difficult work. You are going to have days where you feel entirely unmoored, where the vocabulary just won't surface.
Those brain fog days.
Yeah. But those days are not a sign that you are failing. That mental exhaustion is simply the friction of your brain building new neural pathways. It is physical proof of your progress. You just have to extend yourself a massive amount of patience.
So what does this all mean for you tomorrow morning? We've explored the mechanics of how bypassing translation makes you speak faster and with less anxiety.
What?
But there is a fascinating, much deeper layer to this process that I want you to mull over long after this deep dive ends.
Oh, let's hear it.
So in cognitive science, there is a concept that the structure of the language we speak fundamentally shapes how we organize our thoughts and perceive reality itself.
The idea that the framework of the language dictates the boundaries of your world.
Precisely. Different languages emphasize different ways of relating to time, to space, to authority, and to emotion. So if that theory holds true, then tearing up the translation detour isn't just a clever life hack for ordering coffee faster.
It goes deeper.
Much deeper. By building this direct road, by feeling your emotions and making your daily decisions directly in English, are you essentially developing an entirely new personality? Are you constructing a completely different lens through which to view reality?
Wow. It's a profound implication. You aren't merely translating the native language version of yourself into a new code. You're actively discovering a new, distinct version of who you are.
Exactly. So the next time you are walking around your house and you catch yourself having a completely spontaneous, unprompted thought in English, even if it is just a mundane realization like, I need to buy more coffee, pause for a second and ask yourself, is this the English version of me speaking?
A completely new perspective, operating on a direct road with no detours.
We want to thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. We hope this conversation gives you the toolkit and the confidence to finally drop the safety blanket of your native language. Keep building those new pathways, narrate your kitchen, use that English dictionary, and keep pushing yourself to think directly, even if it's just for 5 minutes today. The next time you find yourself stuck, waiting for that mental ping to catch up, remember you don't need to meticulously translate the game anymore. You just need to step into it and play. Catch you next time.